Good evening, everybody. All right, so Orleans is a it's a bag building game. So for families may be familiar with deck building games where you actually will collect cards. This one you're actually going to be collecting little tiles that you're going to place into your bag, and then we'll be drawing them out onto our player boards here. In this game, we're going to be basically taking tiles and placing them out onto our player boards, and that's going to allow us to be able to get more of the different pieces. It allows us to be able to advance up in these areas here. We're also going to be moving our traders or our folks around on this map over here, collecting goods. And then at the end of each round, there's going to be an event that we're going to have to basically resolve, which sometimes will give us money, sometimes we'll take money, sometimes we'll take goods and things like that. And tonight, we're also going to be playing with a couple of components of the Traders and Intrigue expansion. We'll be playing with the different beneficial deeds board, which replaces the town hall board, which I'll explain here in just a minute. And then we're also going to be playing with the orders component, which is something that will happen as we're moving around on the board out here. So what I'd like to do is go over to the close-up here, and I'm going to just explain some of the components you're going to see throughout the game. So basically, there are 6 different types of people that we're going to be placing out on the board. You have boatsmen, you have farmers, you have traders, you have craftsmen, and you notice these 4 here have my color, which is red, down below. These are the starting pieces that'll go into my bag. In addition to these, and there's also these types of pieces out that we're going to be able to collect more of. In addition to the 4 that we don't have in the bag, there's 2 others. You have the scholar and then the monk, or the monastery for the monks. These pieces out here, you will actually collect on the board, and the monks actually operate for the most part as wild.
You can use them for
any. What's that?
Did you want me to go to the board?
Yes, please. I thought you were on it. My bad. All right. So again, these are the 4 that start in the bag. You have
so did you want the board or the close-up?
I want the close-up. Thank you.
Yep.
So we're going to be collecting those. The monks are wild. Now, there are a couple of cases where you will need to actually use a monk specifically, but for the most part, they are wild.
A monk, a monk, a monk, a monk.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. They're also going to be on the things that we're going to be able to collect these automation tokens. What these automation tokens will allow us to do is place them on our board, and they'll basically act as a permanent person in that spot. So we'll go over that in just a little bit. There are 5 quote-unquote like goods types of resources in the game. You've got wheat, cheese, wool, wine, and silk. These are pieces that I was able to locate and print out. So these don't come with the base game, but these are some of the enhanced goods that we have out here just for the fun of the game. Over here, you're going to see these houses, and as we move around on the map of the board, which we'll bring back up here in just a little bit, one of the options we'll have is to actually place these guild halls out onto the board. So these are the resources you're going to see a lot throughout the game. One other thing that I took off here, and I can put one back here. You're also these citizen tokens, and these citizen tokens are also going to, basically they are part of the victory point conditions that are multiplied. So we'll get to those in just a minute. Also, there is coins, and we'll be using iron clays for these, for the coins in the game. So, because they're so much fun to use. Okay, so those are the components and just kind of the general pieces that we're going to have. Now we'll go ahead and move to the main board. And can you see my player board as well in the shot? I can't remember if you can or not.
We can see it in this shot.
Okay.
So, hand. This right here is Paul's player board. This right here is my player board. I am playing black tonight. Paul is playing red. This over here will be over here will be the top of the board down this way. So you can kind of see what's going on when we choose our different tiles and whatnot.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, great. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with this section of the main board here. Up here, these are the event tiles. So at the beginning of each round, we're going to be flipping over one of these tiles. this is also the timer for the game. So there are 18 rounds in this game. I think there's 18. And then you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really long game. Actually, it's not. The rounds go pretty quickly. But these tiles represent an event that will take place at the end of the round. So in some cases, most times it'll take place at the end of the round. Sometimes it actually will change a factor for the round itself. And I'll actually go ahead and flip over the first tile. And that is the pilgrimage tile, which means in the first round of the game, we will not be able to gain monks from the supply. Then over here, you'll see there are 6 different tracks. These 6 different tracks represent the different types of workers. So I mentioned we have farmers, we have craftsmen, we have traders, boatsmen, knights, and I don't have the knight tile out there, so that's my bad. So the knight tile looks like that. So that's actually a different tile that we didn't show. We have the knight tiles, and then we have the scholar tiles that'll be down here. So basically, as we collect those tiles to add to our bag, these cubes, which represent our colors, will move along this track here, and we'll gain some additional benefits. So that's what's going to happen here. And then down here along the bottom, this is sort of, I think this is the education track, I think is what they call it. So as we advance up here, we're going to either gain coins when we cross over certain spots, and then over certain spots, we'll actually gain citizens into our collection. And then whenever you see one of these symbols here, that is basically a multiplier. So at the end of the game, this is going to multiply by the number of citizens and also town halls or guild halls we have. So I'll get to that in just a minute. So this is the education track down here. And as you can see, obviously, if you get all the way up to the top, you're going to get a multiplier of 6. So this is a very significant portion of the points that you're going to see in the game. Over here, this is the map. And one of the actions we'll take on our board is to be able to move our wagon, I guess as they call it, or ship as we go across here. Notice some of these paths have blue. So when we move, basically we're using a ship in that case. If it's like a beige, that's the wagon we'll be moving. And so one of those actions, we may move our trader or our person here over to another location. And whenever we move, we get to collect one of the goods that's on the path. Now, most of these just have one, but in some cases there are 2. So if you move over, I would be able to collect this good and it would come into my collection. And goods are worth victory points at the end of the game. One of the other actions, as I mentioned, when you're in a city is if you have the ability to build a guild hall. And so when we do that, that's where these little houses will come in and you basically are able to build a guild hall in the location that your person is at. Only one guild hall can exist in each location, with the exception of Orleans, which is here. Both of us can have a guild hall here, but it is a bit of a area control component that goes with this, as we're basically going to be trying to gain guild halls. And the guild halls plus the citizens times these numbers here will be victory points at the end of the game. So that's the map here. And there is an expansion component of this, which I'll explain in just a second. So next I would like to go to our player board. And with the player board, as I explain what we do here, I also explain kind of some of the things you're going to gain when you move the cube up here on the different tracks we have here.
I think they can see everything now. If folks, if you can't see anything on the board that you really wish you could, either through this camera down or this camera here, or even this one that gets hit, mine, and then this one that gets his. This one I have to mess with a little bit. So
okay.
You can go ahead and keep on
going.
Yep, I'm just going to be fixing stuff as we go.
Okay. All right. So on each round, and there's actually a little cheat sheet that they provide, which is very helpful. On each round, there's going to be 7 steps that we're going to take. The first is we're going to basically we're going to reveal the next event. That's the first thing. And then whoever's highest on this track here will get a coin. Okay, and if there's a tie, then nobody gets coins. And if somebody's lower than the other person, they're going to lose a coin. So in a 2-player game, either nobody's getting money or one of us is getting a coin and the other person's losing a coin. Then we're going to draw followers out of our bags. These tiles are called here, these followers. We'll be drawing those out of our bag. And then we're going to be assigning followers to action spaces that are on our board. So as we draw followers out of our bags, which at the beginning of the game, we were allowed to draw up to 4 followers. So I'll just go ahead and put my followers out here. They're going to go down here into the market space, which is at the bottom of the board. Now there is one component as we move things out. It's between the drawing of the follower, before you draw the followers out of your bag, you do have the ability to be able to take people that are out here and put them back down in the market. But for the most part, we're going to be drawing followers out of the bag and placing them down here. At the beginning of the game, we are limited to having only 4 to be able to. We're only able to draw 4. We're only going to have 4 followers down here in this market section. Then what we're going to do is simultaneously, most of these are simultaneous at this point, we're going to assign workers to different locations out on our board based on the colors. And when we complete a section, as we take actions, which is the next part of the next phase, which we'll do in turn order back and forth, we will be able to turn in these tiles back to our bag. They go back to our bag. And in this case, if I filled out this one, I would be able to pick a blue tile or a blue follower, so a boatsman, a craftsman, or a trader from the supply over here, and then I would move up on the track. Every time you collect, these things come off the board, and every time you collect a new follower, they go immediately into the bag. Hence the bag building component of this game, which is the main mechanism of the game. Okay? So what I like to do is I like to quickly explain what each of the sections here on the board do and how they correspond to the rest of the game. I did mention the village here. Whenever you complete this during the action phase, then you'll be able to collect a boatsman, a craftsman, or a trader. The farmhouse over here, if you complete these 2, you'll be able to collect a farmer. The castle, which are these 3 here, will allow you to collect a knight. Over here, the university, if you put these 3 in here, you're able to collect a scholar. And again, whenever you collect these pieces over here on the board, your cube will move up to the next spot. Okay? And then I'll explain what you get with those. Up here, if you complete these, you're going to get a monk. Okay, so these are the kind of the basic ones that you'll see here. I'm going to go over the ones up here at the top. If you complete these, you're able to move your tradesman across a blue route. So you're basically a ship movement. Here, if you complete these, you're able to move your person across the land segments, the wagon. And then if you have this completed here, you're allowed to build a guild hall on wherever you are located. So in this game, one of the key components is basically the timing of your actions that you're taking will really matter in this game. The final 2 sections on the board are the scriptorium and the town hall. So the scriptorium, when you complete this, allows you to move up on the education track by 1 spot. The town hall, when you complete the town hall, when you have spaces here, you can move 1 or both if you have 2 of them there, and these will allow you to take people from here and place them up onto the town hall board, which is up here. Now, there is one rule. You are not allowed to place your starting people into the town hall, because what happens is as you place these people up in the town hall, they stay there permanently. So think of this as sort of a way of culling the bag, and that kind of concept. And as we complete those sections up there, we're going to gain resources. Or as we place people up there, we'll gain resources. But we'll also, if you're the first person to complete a section up there, you're also going to gain an extra benefit. So that's the town hall section. So I explained all the sections here. Let me talk about the actions. So again, we're going to draw the followers out of our bag, place them into the market. Then we're going to, and this is all simultaneously, we're going to assign all of our people. And then in turn order, and I'll be the first player to start, I will take an action. That would basically, so if I had, for example, if I had these 3 pieces here, I would want to take an action. I would basically take these 3, put them back into my bag, and then I would gain a knight tile that would go into my bag, and then I would advance my marker up here on the knight track. So let's talk about the knight track. If you advance on the knight track, you'll see up here, you'll see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then over here is 8. This basically allows you to increase the number of tiles you can draw out of the bag into the market. So if I have a knight, if I go here, now I'm able to have 5 followers in the market at the beginning of the round, as we're playing the beginning of the round. So that's what the knight or castle action will do. The farmhouse will allow you to move up here on this track. When you move into this spot, you're going to gain that resource. So the first two spots, if I move up, you'll gain a wheat each. Then you'll gain cheese, wine, thread, and then silk. And again, the benefit of increasing on this track is at the beginning of the round, you're either going to gain a coin or you could potentially lose a coin. Like in this particular scenario, Dog would lose a coin, I would gain one. So the next one I want to talk about is, so I talked about the castle, I talked about the farmhouse, I already talked about the village. Now let's talk about the three pieces in the village. So the first one is the trader, which is the black pieces that you see here. When you advance,
zoom into that real quick while you talk about those. And then just let me know when you go to the main board.
Okay.
For right now, we'll be zoomed into either, I'll flip from that to that. Wherever you are pointing is where I will go.
Okay. All right. And I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup here as we were talking. Okay. So with the trader here, what this will allow you to do is once you move up here, you're able to get one of the building tiles. Now, actually, I have some here. So, Dog, you want to go to the close up, Jerry?
Close up?
Yep. And then I'm going to take this off here. Tell me if that's in focus. Looks good?
Looks good.
So these are some of the examples of the buildings that you're going to be able to get. So again, starting out, the first space you move to, you're going to be able to select one of the number 1 building tiles. And then with these displays that we have for the insert, anything that's a black border display is a level 1 building tile. And so these are some of the examples. And so when you gain these, you'll be able to take one of these and place it next to your player board, and that is another spot that you can assign followers to. And they're going to give you some different benefits. Some of them, every time you do it, you're going to gain a good. Like, for example, if I had the winery, and when I was placing people out there on action, I took them off, I would gain a bottle of wine. So most of these that I have here are gaining goods, or gaining coins. Some of the other ones will allow you to be able to trade, substitute one tile for a series of other tiles. Some of them will allow you to be able to,
that's what this camera will.
For every spot that you're on here, you'll be able to gain money. So it's just basically a way for you to add to what you're capable of doing on your turn. So very cool. I'm going to set that over there. So we'll probably be, when it comes time for us to do this, we'll probably be like, okay, hand me those and we'll take a look at them. Yep. And all of them are displayed, so you should be able to see all of them so you can pick which ones you want. So again, that is the trader action. The boatsman action, when you gain here, you're going to gain money. So here I would get 2 coins, 3 coins, 4 coins, 5 coins. Now, if I'm the first person to get to this spot here, I gain this citizen tile. So that's sort of a race to get to that. So if you're the first one to get there, you get a citizen tile. Same thing down here with the castle. If you're the first person to hit this spot, you gain that citizen tile. And then the last one that is here is the craftsman, which is this one up here at the top. Now the craftsman, when you move, you gain an automation token, which are these pieces here. And I briefly mentioned those a little bit before, but what the automation token will allow you to do is it'll allow you to place it into a spot on one of these sections that are on your board. Okay, and that becomes a permanent spot. So now I know, in this case here, if I place this on the university, I would no longer have to have a farmer in this spot to be able to complete this section. There are a couple of rules to this. The first one is that the automation token, the very first time you use an automation token, it has to go on to a farmer spot. That is one of the rules. The second is, what this is saying is that you cannot place this for the first action, or I'm sorry, anytime you cannot place the automation token in place of a monk tile, in the monastery section, which is right here. So I think for the very first one, you can't do that. So basically what it's saying is you can't place it here, and it has to go on a white. And I'll verify that. I think maybe you might be able to place it there at all. I'll verify that. So we've probably been playing it the wrong way all along. All right, so that is the craftsman. Craftsmen gain you basically automation. Okay. And hopefully that answers, there's no real questions we have about that.
Are we done with this?
I think I'm done with that, yes. Okay. All right. And hopefully Maddie's watching, because he he'll tell me if I missed anything up on this game for sure. All right, so let's talk about, before we get into, well, so this gets sort of to the bit of the expansion component of this. So I mentioned we're playing with the Traders expansion and a couple components of the Traders expansion. The first part is going to be, we have a different town hall than what comes with the normal game. So I don't know if you're able to get up here and look at this, Jerry. The pieces that you see on here basically have to go down because we're playing a 2-player game, and we will not be able to play with this bottom section. So we're going to be only doing things up here. And again, this comes from when we, on our player board, if we have pieces that are on the town hall, we are able to move those pieces up to here and match. This is one of the cases when you place a piece up here, for the monk, it has to be a monk. So again, permanent placement, it can't be your starting tiles. It has to be one of the ones that you gain throughout the game. So let me explain kind of what these things are here. I'll start down here. For every time you place a person here, you gain a citizen token, which is pretty powerful. So there are some of the citizen tokens. There's 4 citizen tokens here. So if you go here, each time you go here, you're going to get a citizen token. Over here, every time you place one here, you gain a building. Here, you'll gain an automation token. If you place anything here, it'll allow you to move on a ship route for free. The sheep farming and the Thanksgiving sections, every time you place one of these tiles here, you'll gain that good that's below it. Oh, and I forgot to place one of the, this guy should go here, and this guy should go here. There we go.
Boom.
So, yeah, so basically you'll gain the goods here. Down here, architecture, I mentioned that one. I think I'm pulling the other direction up here. And then alchemy, I'll review this, but I'm pretty sure what alchemy will allow you to do is be able to pull a tile out of your bag. So basically, and I'll verify that. And then coinage is exactly what it means. Every time you place one here, you're going to gain 3 coins. So this is actually a much more powerful town hall board than what normally comes with it. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
If you are the first person to complete a section, you will gain the benefit depicted up here in the right corner. So down here, you'll be able to build a guild hall for free in whatever location your person's at. Again, you're subject to the rules. So for example, if I'm my worker, my person is on a spot where I already have a guild hall, or Jerry has a guild hall, I'll still gain the benefit of putting my pieces down here, but I'm not going to gain that benefit. So some of that could be really about the timing. And I think in this game, a lot of times what you're going to see is people are going to really try to figure out, okay, I'm going to think, okay, is Jerry going to fill this out? You know, because you want to be the one that places the tile down on your action. For the town charter, navigation, towing service, you're going to gain a citizen tile. Same thing with alchemy. And then for the sheep farming, Thanksgiving, and the coinage, if you're the first person to complete that, you're going to gain additional coins. So that is the town hall that we're going to be playing with in this game. All right, almost done. Last thing is the expansion is the orders. That's what they call these, orders. And I think this is really kind of cool. So as I mentioned, at the end of the game, one of the things that'll get you points is you're going to gain victory points for the goods that you have. And so in the game, at the end of the game, every wheat is worth 1 victory point. Every cheese is worth 2. Every wool is worth 3 victory points. Every wine is worth, did I say that right? One of those. I'm sorry, wine is 3, wool is 4, and then silk is 5. So at the end of the game, we'll have these collected. Again, some of the building tiles that you'll be able to get will allow you to gain these resources. And these resources are limited. So whether we get them from the board here or we get them from the supply over here, once they're gone, they're gone. You're not going to be able to get those. And the same thing goes for the followers. When those tiles are gone, there are no more. Now, there are some events that will cause us to potentially place some back into the supply, but they are limited. So under normal circumstances, as you move, you would collect goods. But over here, we have these orders. And so what this means is that, so as one of your actions, as I mentioned, we're going to take actions going back and forth. At the end of your action, if your person is in one of the cities that is depicted here, and you have the goods to go with it that they're looking for that city, you are able to take one of these cards, take the goods. They actually go out of the game. They don't go back into the display. They go out of the game. You're basically fulfilling that order, and then these are going to be worth victory points at the end of the game. And so it's really nice. I mean, 12, 10, 13. So that's a neat way to add some additional variability to this map that is out here. And once one of these is taken, we'll basically display another one from the deck. So those are the 2 expansions we're going to play with.
Throw one of those on the...
Sure.
Give me 1 second to get this back to where it belongs. Yeah, throw that on there so people can kind of get an idea what that is.
So in this case here, if my worker is in, is that sink here? I'm trying to say it right, which
Crushed
is
it.
over there. If my person is there, and I have a cheese and a wool, good that I have, I can turn both those in, pick up this card, and at the end of this game, this card is going to be worth 12 victory points. So, cool.
And how do you get those cards? Like, what do you have to do? Is it just an objective, or
it's an objective? So if my person was here,
you just once you meet the objective, you just collect it.
Well, so at the end of your you take an action. At the end of your action, before you pass over to the next person, if I have the goods there, I would turn in those goods and take that card.
Okay. So it's just at the end of your turn, if you qualify for it?
Yep. At the end of it could be at the end of any
There's
action.
no reason to never not take it if you qualify.
I really can't imagine not.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the victory points that you're going to see on here, like, so for example, the Sankir one was a wool and a cheese. Those goods by themselves would be worth 6 points. This card is worth 12. So I don't really see a reason why you would not do that. All right. I think that's it. You have any questions, Jerry?
Not
I'm sure we'll play it out.
Not until I start playing.
Okay.
Let me make sure.
And what I'm going to do is,
here.
I'm actually just going to leave this here just in case we ever want to zoom in, but this is the cheat card or token that allows us to be able to stay on top of the rounds. And again, 18 rounds, they go pretty quickly, especially in a 2-player game. I think they'll go pretty quickly.
I think that everyone can see the board there. That looks good.
So let's play.
Yep. Let's play. I think everything is up. You can see our boards. I think we're good.